Salutations, respected viewers. Well, about a week ago, Exeter University in the United Kingdom expelled several undergraduates. Most of them were reading law, I believe. Why did the university do this? It's the ultimate sanction that a university can impose, one they're usually very reluctant to impose. Their duty is to provide education, and indeed they need fees in order to do that. So they can no longer provide education and they can no longer charge fees to people who aren't there. It's a highly unusual step for them to boot people out. Normally universities are too lax on discipline. So expulsion, as I've said, is the supreme punishment, and it's reserved for very severe wrongdoing, something like repeated cheating in exams, academic fraud. If it was minor, if it was once, you might be let off with rustication or something like that. Crime, and it has to be quite a serious crime. Being possession of cannabis, no, you wouldn't be expelled for that, even if you're caught doing it twice. Heavy violence, not if there was major provocation, not slapping somebody, but real violence, might be kicked out for that. If it was drug dealing, not possession, yeah, you'd probably be booted out for that. So it's very, very unusual indeed. But what Exeter University did is expelled people for what they said in a private conversation. Admittedly, it was part of some sort of chat group on the phone. Now, they were making racist remarks, cracking jokes. Now, this is distasteful. Many people find racially themed humour. But is kicking them out excessive? Who was offended by it? I think not those who were part of the group. One person took exception to it. He was not in the racial group who was being verbally abused, and he reported it. And I think it's a bad step when people report these private conversations. Now, racism is distasteful, and I don't want anyone to be mistreated. And I realise that words can lead to action. I like to think these comments were solely mirthful. There wasn't a deeper belief about it. There's some negative racial stereotypes about various ethnic groups, in fact, probably about all ethnic groups. And, of course, some people can't grasp the distinction between comedy and reality, and are dim enough to believe that these racial stereotypes are broadly accurate and therefore would discriminate on that basis. Anyway, it was an over-the-top reaction. There was a lot that the university could have done, final warnings, rustication, making them go to some course or something like this, and this is really over the top. It's part of the alarmism, the witch hunt about racism. So people crack some jokes which many people find distasteful, but nobody who was part of this chat group was being insulted by it. And indeed, some people are willing to hear jokes about their ethnic group. I certainly am, about Irish people or British people or whites in general. So we should stop being so touchy and stop being so intolerant of remarks, even when they're nasty ones, even when these are jokes that many people would find upsetting. So it's a retrograde step that freedom of expression has been curtailed in such a manner, and that informing on each other, when no one was actually harmed, informing on each other is to be encouraged and rewarded. The university has taken it much too far. There are many lesser penalties they could have imposed, rather than depriving these people of their education.